I forgot to put in some of the details about Secret Service confessions to me about at Central Connecticut State University before I believe it was before Obama went there or Bush. Um, these presidents have people lying to them. This is why and how they have left out black people's whites of eyes. This is why and how they have left out, replaced, is what nature communicates to us and America's founders behind James Madison and his plan too. That replaced our pace. There are people on, I believe it's Morgan Circle in Valley Crest in Wethersfield, which are right on the sides of Millwoods Park, which is increasingly involved with people involved with overt criminal enterprises and private ones in a whole bunch of different countries, with syntax rackets tied to illusions put in databases as predicate acts. Increasingly, news also had timed collusions with interbranch form and at the same time with overt criminal enterprises. And there were a whole bunch of guns associated with the Kerr family. I don't know the number of their house on Morgan Circle. And Ray Kalal wrote Kerr Gay on the side of his house one time with some judges and prosecutors that have been planting evidences with Marines and Air Force and Navy involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders with other countries, overt criminal enterprise by everyone's with putting fake things in databases with kids that never even communicated with each other into databases and lying about why their motivations are and affecting confessions. Central Connecticut State University in the Britain, Connecticut, increasingly is confessing confessions to me and time to make it look like I had conversations with those people. Also to make it look like there were communications with me and others before that never were. Connecticut Interbranch switches and forges names with these roles. These are names all along Route 175. They have roles with predicate acts with investigators from off. I don't know if there too. I don't know who works at a Newington Gun Exchange, but a whole bunch of people with the intelligence community all along Route 175. They have roles of people named Kerr and Demoro and educators of theirs and their family members involved with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and some judges and prosecutors who have been planting evidences on all sides of my house. My past neighbors and others from other areas recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed that people at the corner of Southstein Highway and Town Line Drive are also involved with this. And then they called up to confirm this, to demonstrate it. I never called there. These are people with a whole bunch of different countries at the same time, and as the names rose with the World Trade Center attack. There it is recorded that each campus I went to, there are connections between the people there and people next to the campuses. And one of the things that connects them are people that put fake things in databases, fake ties, fake natures of ties to me. In other words, there are proofs that no, I recorded all kinds of wire crime acts and methods with the Joe DeMar with Wethersfield Police since he was a kid. Also, ones with the name Kerr are involved with this, and with overt criminal enterprises, plural, and private ones, and people with a former Mayor Gold that have been put in a Colon and O'Brien family that have wire crimes also with the police departments. They've been putting things with medical offenders of kids with names next to Harvard Hospital through time, as a whole bunch of people at Harvard Hospital, personally and professionally, with judges and their family members, then their intimate ties together, and they get that all in all these scams. Then they go and use words like hearsay, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrought. These phrases like mea culpa. In other words, leaving out exceptions, leaving out the breaching method, leaving out extraterritorial uses of location/s, let alone hyper extraterritorial use of location/s, which I'm not even a lawyer. but lawyers on all sides of criminal and civil cases, and the courts themselves and the intelligence tied to them, and names it next to their state offices, like the state judicial branch offices and the state corrections offices. Increasingly, it has roles of people with wire crimes on my street, involved with multiple police departments, switching and forging names and refusing to get on paper. And they have roles with all kinds of guns and the different police forms used to hide behind, where they change and fake what people say, including there are proofs that Facebook has roles with. There's one that looks just like a what's her name, a Celeste Wells. She'll tell you, I don't even know her, and she doesn't know me. And the people that had her time where I was going to be, that was a confession. These are police people increasingly involved with murders and various natures of federal criminals and criminal enterprises, with people that were in my grammar school that pretended they had conversations with me, with some doctors too, putting fake ties to kids in databases, ones that are around their own, involved with themselves, with prosecutors and judges at all sides of criminal and civil cases. They have collusions, therefore, at the crime scenes too, discernible. WFSB attached me to fake conversations with them about the World Trade Center attack. These are also intelligence since I was a kid, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, with the locations next to them, increasingly being used to plant evidences, with intelligence next to the state capitol involved. Increasingly, too, has something to do with people with conversations with a Tim O'Brien. He would walk throughout Wethersfield, apparently, and have conversations with people, and then with The Wire with his mother and father, and Dennis O'Brien, and they have roles with lobbyists, and they screen their motivations for roles with differences, racketeering, worse than war crimes, and religious spots, where they bring into their roles with organized crimes, with federal evidences rackets and behavior racketeering, all kinds of drugs and medicines crimes relative within as this. There are doctors with badge doctors of psychiatry with drugs and medicines prescribing it, forging names of forged domestic doctors together, leveraging the guilt of sides. They're criminally different. They're criminally together increasingly. See, there are natures of these are people with foreign and domestic military that have self-value roles with such scams, such organized crime acts and methods that are fact-human nature oriented, mail oriented, all kinds of mail and wire crime acts and methods and scams, with people stealing money through Hartford Hospital, with the Leahy family, one's named Lombardo, with the military too, and with the houses, with houses and businesses next to them, like Demorrow Market, Milo's Kitchen, and Mayano, and per them more. I don't know all their names. There's a Brother Bones Cafe involved with syntax of one's named Demorrow, with FBI Director Robert Luskin, and with courts, family, people out of the state judicial branch offices and corrections offices. Also increasingly at where the near spots near where the Wethersfield police are now, and with like near the town line. Increasingly, there's a wire place there, like a wire company, and places along the Berlin Turnpike associated with one's named Demorrow, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with New Britain campuses and intercities campuses, with people that went to my grammar school, involved with mayors, with and medical families, with sexual and medical offenders of kids, foreign and domestic, and they're putting fake things in databases, and they're using truths to hide what's actually recorded too. They're using truths for lies. On a mass scale, they have roles with the prisons too, with crimes at crime scenes roles. So increasingly, people at Central Connecticut State University sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm. A Joe DeMorrow from Wethersfield and a John DeMorrow from Wethersfield and a Paul DeMorrow from Wethersfield. They have roles with DeMorrow's Market, where it is in Rocky Hill now, and where it used to be in Hartford, next to Hartford Hospital, with all kinds of drugs and medicines crimes and identity thefts and frauds, also with their educators, involved sticking predicate acts in databases, and people with the family members of judges all along Route 3 too. And there are a whole bunch of people that are tied to judges in the Delafair family who have been spreading lies and rumors through the schools with a whole bunch of brothers. I don't even know how have never seen around to to, to be able to counter it syntactically. They're putting fake things in databases and acting tied to it, and then you're not going to know them again. Otherwise, you're going to get arrested. In other words, or whatever. In other words, these are also people that have that involved with the World Trade Center attack. The World Trade Center is involved with all kinds of natures of trade that are criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrought to exploit that, where people are going to pretend they could speak for free speech anyway. So we're gonna pay attention to where and how America's founders' communications are being and haven't been, like with the scientific values inside the communications being and haven't been replaced. This preaching method has people go speak about values. What are your values? That's our values. Our values, the Constitution unabridged, and how and why there's an amendment that has the notes that we have rights that are too numerous to have to list them. There are so many impositions upon that and scams relative to it. They already painted themselves at collusions at crime scenes with the people with the prisons and the killers themselves before they were caught. They're using the prisons to keep their mouth shut and pretend that they're about pretending to not torture, but about corrections. They're also just totally faking with the torture and the laws that they rearranged, conversations. So Hartford Hospital increasingly has roles of all kinds of differences, rackets too, relative to the roles of the World Trade Center attack and remote uses of America's name and Saudi's name with a whole bunch of different countries. Again, with the businesses and houses next to them, and they're refusing to identify themselves with the police departments involved, with the Wethersfield police also switching and forging names and making confessions, but refusing to get on paper and trying to make fake exceptions that show the same thing. Please, Judge Napolitano, get them on paper, one name and sequence, and let's get this detective Samuda on paper too. He said, before I go back to Central Connecticut State University, he wants me to talk to him. I didn't even respond to him. He's one of the ones that involved with switching names of officers and falsifying police reports. And he has rules with like some kind of a sexual phone call to a girl, but it might have been made up because former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, was involved in the courts and all sides of criminal and civil cases. They were planting evidences together, and with the news at crime scenes, and with their family members influenced to that. All kinds of natures of remote uses of all natures of investigations investigated are recorded. That's not just, this is our country's A through Z, though. So, in other words, please, Judge Napolitano, get Napolitano and CIA and FBI, because your name too got brought in this CIA. So we're going to go deeper into it because the FBI, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and James Comey have seen syntax and names, a whole bunch of names with different congressional buildings through time, and next to them involved, including increasingly people that has something to do with the roles, with conversations with the Perone family and and O'Brien family and Cloles at the corner of Fox Hill and Carriage Hill Drive has something to do with their roles with the World Trade Center attack, predicate acts with people named Scalora, and planting on all sides of criminal and civil cases already. They have roles with names with the same predicate acts with those names, and the courts themselves involved, and the Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center, and with people increasingly like with the Keene family, lying to the Keene family about me with their neighbors and lying about themselves with their neighbors, increasingly involved with body dumping spots and the judicial branch offices with identity theft, frauds, and slanders, and people involved with my grammar school and my kindergarten that are putting fake things in databases. Increasingly, there's a Kevin Harris, people tied to a Kevin Harris, a Fred Grisette at Quinnipiac University, with ones I don't know the name of, who have been planting evidences with a Brian Silver and Brendan Leahy, also with medical and sexual offenders of kids, with his mother involved, reportedly and demonstrably. Let's get that on paper, one name and sequence. Where does this Kevin Harris live? He's also involved with the daughter of a principal. When I was at the school, the principal upskirt nature, I recorded them doing worse with enforcing it before he was caught off campus anyway. So let's get the response for his confessions too. More with the police chief Cintron. And his officers are recorded confessing, demonstrating, and leaking private things about his daughter through their sources too. Like a Jessica Cintron. I never met her in my life. She's involved with the corner with her father and with a Mazzucato bakery. But with her father since years before the Mazzucato bakery was at the corner of Elm Street and Rocky Hill and Route 3. They were involved with a whole bunch of people involved with sticking predicate acts in databases. And as roles with the names there, and they me tied to multiple child abusers, leaders of kids years apart, where they had use/estimate roles and furthering such. And they have roles with multiple courts, judges, and prosecutors personally and professionally involved with them, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. And the difference between prosecutors as Democratic theme or Republican theme, when they fight with themselves, they're defending criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw, quality aspects of fact nature that are also evidences. Forgiveness is for so we can force law properly followed, and guilt not leaving out the breaching method that has used them remotely since they were kids, only capable of fake integrity. And using all the quote crimes, even real ones that come before them, to hide how they have roles of predicate acts with facts methods, even way worse than what they even put little kids in jail for, criminally, dishonestly, as collusions. Increasingly, a sub-Bajario has roles with child defenders, leaders of kids, planting evidences on the sides of campuses, with also medical and sexual and overt criminal enterprises and people associated with databases as psychiatrists and ones who are just sociologists or whatever they are. And what are they doing on the sides of Central Connecticut State University? Where does this guy live? Where does this guy live? This Sylvia Bajario. And let's get the courts on paper, one name and sequence. Watch. More is involved.